And welcome to Liquid Lunch, coming at you live. It's the 16th of October, 2012.
Where we're supposed to be in fall and we are in winter.
Wow.
That's going a little far,
Well, it's
Sandra.
cold.
It was nice on the weekend. Rainy, but warm.
Well, it didn't snow, but you know what? In some places it did snow.
There was a frost. The first frost, at least up north in Napanee, they had the first frost.
Okay, now, is it just me or is it early?
It's normal. It's within the normal range. Apparently, I got an email, global warming stopped 16 years ago. It's been getting cooler
Yeah, it's global
for
freezing.
the last 16 years. So these
global
guys don't know what they're
freezing.
talking about. Al Gore, you know, let's stop pollution, yes.
It's all part of the Illuminati.
Exactly.
You're right. You're right.
So it's all part of
It's still
the fake.
that Indian phase. Remember they said
Indian summer?
No, it's like that. Yeah, like it's like an Indian summer still. Don't they have they dry all the corn about this time of year?
Well, to me, Indian summer is once it gets a little cold and fallish, and then you have beautiful, hot, warm weather, that's Indian summer.
Yeah, it's like a
right?
sneak attack.
It's like, yeah, but it's still fall colors, but it's nice and summer-like. But the light, the quality of the light is different.
Yeah.
That's Indian summer. To me, we haven't really had one yet.
No, oh yeah, the
No.
quality of the light, that's a really big part of
Last
it.
weekend
Yeah.
was a little
Yeah.
funny.
And you know, have you guys noticed, okay, of course it's getting darker early, we know that, but this year it just seems to be so much darker, so much earlier.
I know.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, that could be.
It's true.
Because
And
the
it's
pole
hard
shift
to
could be
get up.
happening,
Yeah.
right?
It's hard to get up in the morning.
Somebody's calling me.
Okay, so I want everybody to take a look at last week's show because the exact same thing happened.
Oh, mine's not.
It's a guest who's going to be late.
Val could happen. Val's could bring any minute.
And mine's worse than that. I think it's Rage in the Machine or something.
Oh
Is it
no.
really?
I can't remember.
Okay, so if your phone rings, we're going to have the camera all like
Yeah,
shake it so
sorry,
it seems
and
like
I'll
there's an
apologize.
earthquake.
Max, where's your cell phone?
My cell phone's in my pouch, and that's why it's not going to ring because nobody calls me.
You know, I wouldn't want to
But
put...
is it on silent, Max?
He puts it on. He's very good at it.
See, the thing is, I don't know if we could see where Max's pouch is, but that's dangerously close to your nether regions, Max,
Yes, it
which
is.
you know, so all those microwaves are going into your
Yeah.
nether regions. I'm not
why
sure that's a good
nobody-
idea.
That's why he tells people not to go.
And Max is truly Canadian.
Yes, he is.
Truly
Are
Canadian.
we
I
seeing
am
that?
Canadian.
In
I'm
every
damn proud
sense
of
of
it.
the word.
Truly Canadian.
Okay.
But
So-
yeah, I think it's getting darker earlier, and it seems really dark.
And I can't get up in the morning. I don't know about you. I have a really hard time when it's still dark. I feel like a bear.
I know.
I can't seem to get myself going until the light comes, and then all of a sudden I spring to life. It's weird, eh? How the light affects you.
Very,
Well, that's
very
normal.
weird.
I think that's normal.
I know, but I never noticed it so much years ago.
Is
This
this,
year,
I know.
right.
Why is it so
I
noticeable
don't
this
know.
year?
I think, is it darker?
Well, it
I
gets
think it
dark
is.
around 4 o'clock. It's like, why is
Yeah.
it getting dark at 4 o'clock? And I just turn down the blinds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dark
Yes.
earlier in the day,
Yeah, and it's dark.
it's dark still very early in the morning. And
Yeah, yeah. But it
don't know
does
why that
seem
is.
darker. You're right. It seems darker this year.
Yeah. Is there
For
any
whatever-
scientists that we could find out this
The scientists are all
phenomenon?
Is it the polar
they're all
shift
in
or
league with the
something?
cabal, Val. So
Oh,
they'll
God.
just give you disinformation. You know,
You're not gonna tell us
the only reliable information you can get is from people on YouTube,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
Like Terrell 03.
I don't even know
Yeah.
who that is, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
If he's
I
honest,
think it's the pole shift, personally. I think it's something to do with the pole shift.
Yeah.
I do think it is darker. I honestly think it's darker.
Well, with the weather change, and this is like globally, I did look up something on YouTube, and I don't know if you can find it. It's called Strange Sounds Around the World.
Oh, I've
Yes,
seen those.
yes.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
It's very weird.
do you think there's something to that?
It's like you remember War of the Worlds? It was kind of like
Yeah,
that. Like
yeah.
there's a ship under there coming out of the ground. It was very similar to the sound. I thought.
Yeah.
That's very, very weird.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Yes, it's kind of strange.
Yeah, it is very. So go to Strange Sounds Around the World.
Yeah, and you know what? They're happening in Windsor. They're happening in Mississauga.
Windsor?
Yeah.
I never
in
saw
Mississauga,
that there, but I
and then
did.
of course everywhere around the world, in the States, in China, in Russia,
Yeah, in
in
Russia,
Switzerland,
everywhere.
But yeah, it's happening here too.
I haven't heard it.
Calgary. Oh my God, I heard one in Calgary.
I
that
heard the
was
one in
the
Calgary.
weird. It wasn't. What'd you think? Wasn't that weird?
Yeah.
The
Was
poor
it
cows
ominous?
and the horses are going to just run for the hills. You'll
Well,
find
they
them.
may know something we don't.
Well, maybe.
Okay.
Follow the animals.
Maybe they're
All right.
tapping into a group consciousness thing.
Okay,
that we don't know
folks.
about.
We get
Okay.
into these discussions, don't we?
I
All
know,
right.
I know.
Okay,
And
we
it's
can talk
Halloween's
about
the
this all the
perfect
time. Okay, listen, we got to get busy. We got a big
Okay.
show today.
Okay.
We got Mimi Osvath coming on
We
in a
didn't get to
couple
talk about
minutes.
sacred geometry.
Grant Lyle's coming on.
Yep.
Brian Baumal is here, and Joel Levy coming in from
Yay.
Toronto is awesome.
Toronto
so,
is awesome.
now,
Yeah.
before we get into that, Val and Max, let's talk about superstars. What's going on
Wow.
there?
Well, just an update. If you go to superstars.ca.
Not stupid.
I knew I was going to get a rise in a match. Sorry about that. Superstars with a Z.ca, and it'll give you the last of the 2 quarterfinal nights.
Wow.
So, which is next Monday, the 22nd,
Okay.
and the 29th.
Okay.
So those of you that do want to get into the show with your original material, and you can sing it a cappella, you can play guitar, you can bring your band, you can do whatever you want, you can sing it to your tracks. As long as it's yours and you wrote it, please come down to the Passion Lounge at 1220 Danforth. It's at Danforth and Greenwood. It's on Danforth, across from the old Roxy Theatre,
Yeah.
which is now a Tim Hortons, by the way.
And it's near the,
Of course.
It's right straight across from the old Roxy,
yeah.
but it's right on the corner.
Wow.
Yeah. Is there a Tim Hortons in that Roxy now?
Yes, there is.
Something like that?
Wow.
It's a great one.
Wow.
Yeah. It's their landmark, that place.
Tim Hortons.
It's now Tim Hortons. But there are pictures of Tim Curry on the inside, and it's kind of do a real nice little thing for him.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Just walk in and take a look around.
Tim
the floor.
Curry?
Yeah, from the show.
Yeah. From the Rocky Horror
Yeah,
Picture
Rocky
Show.
Horror Picture Show.
Which they probably used to show at that theater.
Yes, they
right?
did,
Back
all
in the
the time.
day.
And
I
then
think
we
there's
all
classes
used to
for
get
that,
dressed
right?
up and
Yeah.
go.
Did
and-
you used to?
Oh yeah, I did. I wore heels and little.
Did you get up on
aprons.
stage?
Oh yeah, we did.
Did
We
you
had
throw
some
toast?
sandwiches and stuff.
Yeah,
like that. It
exactly.
was fun. Very fun.
Whoever thought that would ever turn into a Tim Hortons? Whoever thought?
Wow.
Exactly.
Well, you
Yeah.
know, the kids today are loving that now.
What, the Tim
They're
Hortons?
right. No, sorry. They're right into that whole movie and the musical and the whole thing.
Are they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they love it.
That's
They sing all the
great.
songs. So.
Okay, Val, so the 22nd, 29th?
22nd and 29th at the Passion Lounge.
Yeah.
It's at 8 o'clock till midnight. So please come early to register so we can place you in the show.
And there's no cost to register, right?
There is. It's $25.
Oh,
'cause
okay,
it's-
sorry.
you know,
$25,
it's like
that's right.
this.
Okay.
$25 could win them $25,000 in
Right,
value
okay.
of music recording services.
But there's no cost to come and watch.
No. You
Okay,
can just walk
okay,
in and
okay.
watch and support your friend. There will be a panel of judges there
Okay,
that night, so
okay.
have fun. And it'll also be by audience response.
Okay.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Nice.
Yeah, we're really looking forward
Okay, Val, and people can check it out, superstars with a Z.ca,
to it.
right?
Yes. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay, guys.
Look forward
Awesome.
to seeing you.
So we better get busy. Now, we got some great,
Speaking of music.
we got, you know that guy that did a skydive from space? Did you guys hear about this?
No.
Yeah, he took a helium balloon up to 39,000.
He took a helium
Oh, I did hear
balloon.
about that.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised that he wasn't
You don't need a
stopped.
rocket. Well, he
what
had
about
the
the
right
air?
technology.
Oh my
There's no air. Wait
God.
till you see what this looks like. He's out in space, this guy.
Okay.
And we got footage of his head cam, and so we're going to watch that. Or then we're going to watch, we got
That's
some
trippy.
video of Justin Trudeau talking about the Bilderbergers and all the conspiracies.
Justin Trudeau
Yeah.
is
Trudeau's
talking
son.
about the Bilderbergers.
The Bilderbergers, apparently.
Wow.
So we're going to watch these 2 videos. We're going to come back with Mimi Osvath as Liquid Lunch gets underway on a Tuesday. So let's take a look at this now. We'll come back with Mimi as we get underway
wanna
here.
see that.
Check this out. It's going to be on
Okay.
the big screen.
Oh, it's great to be back in Hamilton. It is such a treat to be back here, particularly given
the duct tape, please.
the challenges that I had personally over the summer trying to think about whether or not I wanted to be here standing before you tonight. And from the energy in this room and from what I've heard across the country so far, I think I made the right decision. Two things about that. It was not one that I took lightly, and secondly, it's not actually about me. I didn't take it lightly because obviously, as you may all know, I have 2 young children, and one of the big things about my life is I have a life goal of trying to be as awesome a dad as I had.
What are your thoughts on water fluoridation? You think the Canadian population should continue fluoridating their water? What are your thoughts on the subject?
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice. Sorry, did you have a question?
Yes. Hello, my name's Anthony. I'm with CAN.
Pleasure
And
to
I
see
was
you.
wondering, what are your thoughts on water fluoridation? You think the Canadian population should continue?
You know what? I haven't seen convincing science, despite the conspiracy theorists, that there's something wrong with fluoridation of water.
So you...
very long. She's president.
I'm perhaps an excuse, I'm perhaps a trigger for it, but if people across the country are reacting this way to a potential leader of the third party in the House of Commons, regardless of his name, it's because people across the country are hoping for something different and something better.
Sir, folks, sir, any comments on the Power Corporation? Sir.
We do have the media waiting to have
Justin.ca.
Sir, any statements on the Power Corporation?
Sorry.
Restore the Bank of Canada.
And unfortunately, the story of income inequality that seems to be talked about an awful lot in the news these days and by politicians is not so much a story of what's happening on the ends, on the edges of the income spectrum. It's about what's happening in the middle. To hardworking Canadians who are finding it harder to get by on salaries that just don't seem to be increasing enough, debt load that's increasing, costs that are rising, and people wondering for the first time in generations if perhaps their kids aren't going to automatically have it slightly better than we have now. That idea, that reversal of the idea of progress has got an awful lot of people worried. And it's got an awful lot of us saying, how do we turn this around?
Just wondering, what's your stance on your father's decision to change our banking system? Would you, as Prime Minister,
I'm not here to defend my father's legacy. I'm here to talk about the future.
If you were Prime Minister, would you restore the Bank of Canada, or would you keep perpetuating the debt to the private banks?
You seem to have your mind made up. I'm listening to Canadians right now, and I'm hearing your perspective.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Trudeau, would you right your father's wrongs by restoring the Bank of Canada?
Please, stop yelling over here.
Sir, would you right your father's wrongs by restoring the Bank of Canada? We currently pay $170 million a day on compound interest to private banks. Could you please restore the Bank of Canada? So then we can.
Thanks so much.
Sir, we're currently paying $170 million a day on compound interest to private banks.
Other people, there's no need to
Would you like to restore the Bank of Canada?
Excuse me here.
Yes. This is my grandmother.
Sir, $170 million a day on compound interest. It sure is a lot, sir. Would you restore the Bank of Canada?
I trust Mark Carney in what he's doing. Thank you.
Mark Carney, working for Goldman Sachs at the time, was advising the Russian government on economic policy. These policies ended in a severe economic collapse, which happened to profit Goldman Sachs tens of millions of dollars, in spite of their involvement in a $1.25 billion bailout of the Russian government. Goldman Sachs appears to have been betting against success. Mark Carney went on from there to head up the Bank of Canada, and then on to the Financial Stability Board, the new global watchdog on the world's biggest banks, placing him in an ideal position to repeat the process on a larger scale. The theme of this conference, Adapting to a New World Order, suggests that it is clear how global commerce and finance will be recognized in the wake of the current crisis. However, the outcome is far from preordained. How we manage the rebalancing of the global economy could profoundly influence how open, equitable, and prosperous the New World Order will be.
Well, you know what the politics of division, of fear, of envy, of mistrust? Here's a dirty secret about politics. Those kinds of politics, they can get you elected. They can even give you a majority.
Justin, Justin, I have one question for you. Sure. If you ever became prime minister, I'm sure you know there's a lot of prominent politicians attending Bilderberg meetings and also have heavy ties to Power Corporation. If you ever did become prime minister, would you follow those footsteps? Would you attend Bilderberg meetings?
I think one of the most important things that we have in terms of the shifting of democracy is the moving away from donations and reliance on big corporations. And when you can pack rooms of people who are willing to give $5 donations, that big structures doesn't become necessary.
But the Bilderberg, remember, different governments, politicians. So Justin, would you attend or no? You never really answered.
What is it?
If you would attend the Bilderberg.
I've never been invited.
No, but would you attend if you were invited?
Do you have a card?
Okay,
Wow.
so there's Justin. He supports fluoridation in the water,
Well, no,
which
he
is
didn't.
good.
Well, we don't know for sure
He said
he
that.
does. Okay, he
said
said he
it.
hasn't seen any evidence contrary to
Right.
it in science. But you know what? I'm not sure if that guy was just an act or if he's really that
What?
soft.
What do you mean soft?
I think Harper can chew him up and spit him out
don't know.
unless he toughens up. Like I think he's smarter than he is giving.
I don't think Harper's really that
Smart?
smart or good. I think
Harper
that the
is
Globe and Mail
actually, you know
just
what?
says he's
No. Harper's
right?
actually, I think Harper's actually really smart. Unfortunately, he's not using it in the right way.
Yeah.
But I absolutely think, Harper is the smartest politician on the planet right now.
Oh,
He's extremely bright.
That doesn't say a lot for the other politicians.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But he is very smart and he's very conniving.
Well, I disagree. Well, maybe conniving. Okay.
Okay.
Mimi. Maybe
Oh, wait a
Mimi
second.
knows.
Just one other thing, though. The very
What?
cool thing about
Yeah.
the first video, that was the coolest thing in the world, watching
Yeah.
that guy jumping.
Isn't
Oh,
that
my
cool?
God, that was amazing. That looked so fake. But I know it's not.
It was real.
It was unbelievable. Anyways,
he had a
that is
GoPro.
more impressive to me than the Justin Trudeau video.
Yeah, he had a GoPro. Mimi, what do you think of all that stuff? Justin.
Hi, Mimi.
Mimi's here. The Mimi.
Hi.
I know we're surprising you with that because we're not here supposed to talk about politics. But I don't know. Did you have any thoughts about
I don't.
Justin there?
I don't like politics. I hate them. Like I just actually.
Did they give you like the creeps kind of thing to even think about it?
I do try to follow things, but I just have a hard time believing
Yes.
what I hear, and so it's frustrating, and I just tend not to have an opinion because I don't trust.
See, and I think that's why they're bringing Justin forward, is because they're trying to get somebody who can cross that non-trusting barrier that you're talking about to get you to trust them. And that's why I think they're trying to appeal to the fact that he's a Trudeau and the fact that, oh, look, he looks like this nice family guy, and they're trying to appeal to our soft, sensitive side, like, oh, maybe there's a normal guy finally, right?
But they're doing that with Harper, too.
Harper does not come across as a family guy. I'm sorry. No.
But now McGuinty just resigned. Some are saying that he resigned yesterday, and they're saying
I didn't
some
know
are
that.
saying that this is opening up his way to get into the federal.
Oh my
side
God,
of
he
things.
resigned.
It's a big story. Okay, let's not
Wow.
go there because Mimi is not involved in politics.
No,
but
no.
Mimi, you're a singer-songwriter.
Yes.
So do you use your music to try to have positive impact on the world?
I like to, and I think sometimes it does that, and maybe some of the next stuff that I'm writing will hopefully do that. So I think that's important for sure.
Now, I know you're working on a record, right, called Three of Swords?
Well, it's finished. It's just being mixed right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to ask you
Wow.
if any of these new songs that you're going to write
Yep.
could find their way onto this new record, but I guess I'll have to wait till the next
No. Yeah, it's filled up.
record. Now, is this your first?
It is.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yes.
And you're working with Bob Wiseman,
Yes.
the legendary,
Oh, you know of him?
yeah.
I know.
Who doesn't know about Bobby Wiseman?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's worked with Blue Rodeo, right?
Yep.
Boy, you know your stuff. I didn't know
do?
you knew Bob Wiseman.
I don't.
Well, how do you know he worked with
I just
Blue
heard of
Rodeo?
that because I know his name in connection to Blue Rodeo.
Right.
Okay.
But I know he's well known in the industry because Blue Rodeo is well known in the industry,
Yeah.
right? So he's an amazing person to work with. Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, how is that? How is that? Look, what's the process like?
What was the process like? It was great.
Like, where'd you go? Where did you do the recording?
We recorded in the Transac, which is a venue. So
Were you on the stage? I know the Transac very well. Were you on the stage there?
no, there's a room upstairs. So we did some recording there, and also used the piano that's in the main room.
Is it in the main room, isn't it, or is it in the little side room?
They've
The
got
little
two
bar
pianos.
room?
Two
Right.
pianos, and they're
Okay.
both a little bit out of tune.
Perfect.
Does that mean,
Sometimes
does
that's
that
what
mean
you
your
need.
your songs were a little bit out of tune?
It's okay. It's just some character. It's not
Nice,
to the
nice.
point
Good
where
for
it
you.
matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then also drums were recorded somewhere else, in another studio. So we would do the vocals and the guitars there, and then he would have other people come in and while I wasn't there, and then also the drums were done. So I had no idea. That was kind of what the process was like. I didn't know how it was going to turn out.
Are you happy?
Oh yeah, very happy.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Isn't that amazing?
yeah.
That's fun. That sounds like a lot of fun then when you don't know what to expect.
Yeah,
And then it comes out even
I
better
don't
than you
know.
could have thought.
You must not be much of a control freak then, maybe, because
You know what? I think I know when I don't like something, and so that's important.
But it is also
But it's just one of those good collaborations when
Yeah,
where you don't
yeah.
know and you just trust, and
Yeah.
it works out really well. There's so many ways that something can be done, so as long as you're happy with it.
So why did you do it there at Transac? Was that his recommendation or?
or is it just so you can hang out on the future bakery patio?
That's right. Well, I'm comfortable there. It's also close to where I live
Okay.
at the moment, so that was convenient. And affordability is a factor too. You're
Yes,
paying
of
your
course.
producer, you're paying for other musicians, you're paying for mixing and mastering and manufacturing. It's a lot for somebody who's it's their first record.
Yeah.
You're funding it yourself, so it's a cost plus. You just don't really need to go over the top as well,
Good.
to get something that sounds good.
Well, no, not nowadays. With the way technology is, you can make something sound really good in your basement apartment, right? So
Or can you?
I don't know how to do that, but you know.
well, I know some people do.
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
So, are you from Toronto originally?
I am. I was at the West End, sort of like Hart Park area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What street?
Pardon me?
What street?
Like I lived on Quebec.
Oh
yeah.
And so
I know somebody who
you
lives
know,
on there now.
Yeah, so
Nice street.
in that area, and I live in the annex now. So yeah, I'm from Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how long you been doing music for?
Just the past couple years, actually.
Really? So this hasn't been a lifelong thing for you?
No.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So that's the thing, is that I always wrote poetry, and then I started to turn my poetry into songs and play open mics around 2-3 years ago.
Wow. And so it's only been in 2 to 3 years you're coming up with your first project.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really productive.
Yeah.
So,
Good for you.
I'm just
Thank you.
curious. So, writing the poetry, like what? I mean, it almost might seem obvious, the transition from poetry to songwriting, but what's your experience, or why did you want to take that next step and start to put music?
I needed to emotionally, I think. Like I went through something that was difficult, and I felt like, like it wasn't enough to. Yeah, I don't know why. Just everything in my life was telling me to do it, so I did it.
Maybe for the money?
Yeah, that's right. Right, because money makes you happy.
Well, money does make you happy. We know that.
Right.
But the thing is, you make more money as a rock star than as a poet, right?
I don't know.
Okay, first of all, we all agree money does not make you happy.
That's what it was. I was like, yeah, screw poetry. No,
No, you know what I think? I think because you were saying like the whole emotional thing, the poetry is a wonderful way. It's cathartic and everything.
Yeah.
But there's something about music.
Plus, there's no money in poetry, right? Who
Sorry,
makes money?
what were you saying? I'm sorry.
We're just going to ignore him right now.
No, I just wanted to.
No, I think there's something in the music, in the actual, because even sometimes when you listen to music when there's no lyrics, there's something about the connection, yes, the emotional connection that people have to music.
Yes.
And so I think maybe that you need to take a step further. So you put music to the lyrics or the poetry.
I just had to in my life.
So that's, I think you're just digging deeper.
Yeah, I was unhappy.
And then there's more money in that, okay.
It made me feel better, and other people liked it, so.
So do you write, now when you're writing, no, okay, I'm going to bring something up here because John Lennon and a lot of these guys, right? John Lennon, gotta admit, one of the best songwriters of all time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these other guys, when they, he was asked about his lyrics, right? Sometimes they don't really make that much sense. Paul McCartney too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Magneto
Yeah.
and Titanium Man. Hello. Okay, but
I'm a walrus.
the thing is, he said it's not really about the lyrics per se, because people were saying, what do these lyrics mean? They're kind of nonsensical. And he said, it doesn't. It's not really about. It's like a whole thing. The lyrics, the music together. It's just got to sound.
It's a package.
Good. And I know some lyricists that actually. Well, they're songwriters, right? But when they're coming up with the lyrics, they just kind of make sounds that sound good and then find words that are close enough to those sounds.
That's not how I work, but I could see how that's how.
Yeah.
So how do you do it?
I usually just get a feeling of like something I need to express, and it, it needs to come out, and I find it interesting, and I want to explain it. But the words the words are really important, and. So I try not to rhyme just because I have to, or just use a word because it rhymes, right?
Or it fits.
Yeah, the lyrics are really important to me.
So is it the lyrics first for you, Mimi, and then the music?
Usually. So occasionally I'll come up with something on guitar or piano first, but usually it's been written first,
So do you play piano and guitar?
I'm just starting to write on the piano.
Okay.
And there was a few songs on the album which Bob did on piano, and so now I have to actually learn them.
Oh, nice pressure.
Which is it's great though. It's helping me a lot because I need that.
Wow.
So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what are your intentions for this, your first record, Three of Swords? Like what are your intent? Is your intent? Is it Air Canada Centre?
Everybody wants success, right? But
everybody wants money because we know money makes you happy.
Yeah, right. We went over that. No, I'm gonna go. I want to take it on the road and go on a road trip. I think.
Nice, like across Canada, like a tour.
I'm not sure yet. It's going to be in January.
What a perfect time to do an across Canada tour.
Yeah, it's perfect weather. No, so I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm not sure what's going to happen with it. I mean, I'll try to do as much as I can.
Are you having like a release party or something?
Yes, I am. It's going to be in a few months. There's not a date set. It will be at the Transac.
Okay.
Where do you live there?
Basically, yeah. It's like that's where I started playing open mics and stuff. So it makes sense. There's a piano there.
It's a great place, actually.
Yeah, no, it is.
And you don't even have to be Australian or New Zealandish.
That's right.
To be a member.
Yeah.
I don't get that, but
Are you
that's
Australian?
okay.
No, not yet.
Do you do that dance that they do? What is it?
A kangaroo dance?
They do that dance in there, right?
I don't know. I'm not
sure. Rocky Horror dance? I don't know.
I forget what it's called.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so when is
the release
coming out? Yeah.
It will be in a few months, but I don't have an exact day. The whole album has taken a year, so it's just I thought it was going to take a half a year, and then it just kept going and going.
Does that mean
and
it's going to sound better?
Exactly,
better?
Right? You have more time to, I don't know, it's just the way it panned out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like construction. You know how when you have construction, they say, okay, we'll be done in 3 months, and 9 months later, they're still not done.
Yeah.
It's always that way.
So when is it coming out?
In December.
In December. Okay.
Early December, so it's...
All right.
Hence the tour in January, correct? Right after
Tour
Christmas.
or... Yeah, I'm not sure what
or maybe
it will be.
okay. Mini tour / couple venues.
Yeah, I just want to.
So have you been performing?
I have. I've performed a lot throughout the summer. Put on a lot of small shows all around Toronto, and so I do want to branch out in January and do something more with it, and get it out there.
Well,
go big or go home.
I wish we had a copy of it today to
it's too bad.
Listen to, but
maybe I could come back. Maybe you can invite me.
Sure. We can do that. You have the invitation is open right now. Just
Okay,
email
great.
us back your acceptance, and we'll
Great.
do something like that. But we do have this one video now.
Sure.
Called To the Ocean, is it?
To the Ocean,
And
yes.
is this going to be on the CD?
It will. There'll be a video. So this is a live video, but there will be a music video for this. And as well, I wanted to mention that I'm going to have a website up, and it's going to be mimioz.com.
And how do you spell Oz?
OZ.
OZ, okay.
MimiOz.com.
Nice.
Pretty easy to
Okay,
remember,
so
and I'll
that's
have all
great.
my.
When is that
ways.
going to be up, though? But it's not up right now?
It's being worked on, just like the album.
Because people are watching this, maybe not just now, but in
Yeah,
the future. They
right.
could go there right now in the future, and it might be up.
Yes.
And
Oh,
then
okay.
from there, they can stay in touch with you,
Yeah.
sign up, order
Sure.
a CD, and
Sure. Great.
figure out where your cross Canada tour is taking you, and go see you live.
And then eventually going to the States, because by the time they watch this, you'll also be going to the States too.
Exactly.
Right? Because they could be watching this 6 months from now.
That's right.
Okay, Mimi, anything else? Any-
Thanks a lot for having me on.
It's been
Don't
great
go to
have
the
you
States in the summertime.
Don't
Go to the
on.
States in the winter time.
The southern states.
I know. I've heard
You know what
it's
I mean?
warm. It's nice.
Yeah,
so,
it'll be nice.
Okay, so we got this song now, To
Three
the
of
Ocean,
Swords.
To the Ocean.
from the upcoming album, Three of Swords. And so we're going to watch this now, Mimi, and we're going to come back with Grant Lyle as Liquid Lunch continues. We'll be right back.
You growing hunger is digging deeper as I allow only a single taste, a single touch where rivers are flowing, where your eye follows until you find my river. I will leave you hungry, but not dying of starvation. Was it love? Was it not? I'm in a dream and I forgot. Was it love? Was it not? I'm in a dream and I forgot. A body of water moves you inside me. I am pushing and pulling, exposing and hiding. Come to my river, please bring your heart to. I have been lying. You are the water and you found your place to lay in. That's me. As we lead each other to the ocean. Ooh. Ooh, was it love? Was it not?
All right, we're back.
That was an interesting video.
Yes, it was. And we have Grant Lyle joining us here. Grant.
Hello, sir.
Great to have you here on the show.
Amazing hair. He's got amazing
Doesn't he?
hair. I love that hair.
I had hair like that once after I got a perm.
When you pull that straight, Grant, how long does your hair go? Because it's so tightly curled.
Yeah, it'll never really get straight.
Wow. Do you comb it?
Yeah, I have to.
Like with a pick
I
or
have
something?
to, otherwise it turns into dreadlocks. You see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would just like.
Mine would
I
do
would
that.
just like go swimming in the salt water and.
How much shampoo do you use to wash your hair?
Wow.
That's what you wanted to start with, wasn't it, Grant?
These are pressing questions. I understand the need to get to the bottom of this, but here's something. I drink fluoridated water and I don't use shampoo.
You don't use shampoo?
No.
What do you do? Just rub the soap on your hair?
Yeah. I just use like ivory.
Like
That's what
like
I
lye.
did.
I just use some like lye and
Oh,
just
wow.
yeah.
That's why it's so
soft.
curly. Oh, maybe
That's what I did this morning too. Ivory.
Dish soap.
Just soap on
Wow.
on my full head of hair.
I'm glad we're making the most use of the time that we can here.
So Grant.
All right, okay, that's a hint.
Let me tell you. So I'll tell you where I met Grant. I just met Grant this summer down at the Now Lounge, and Grant, I was, I know you were playing with Ken Skinner and the gang, and I was very impressed with your guitar playing, and here you are. You brought your guitar today, and hopefully you're going to play a couple of songs for us.
Sure.
But you got a CD out, right?
That's right. Yeah.
What's it called?
So there.
Is it so there, or is it so there? Like you're so there, man.
Yeah, man.
You know, which one is it?
Well,
I think it's like
was,
so there.
I was
Like take that.
It's a play. It's a little play on words, but yeah, we've had this. I guess more or less officially ready since early summer, and beginning in earnest. Some promotions, and we did a video to accompany that, and
which we're going to play at the end. Yeah.
And we're just we're sussing out all the avenues. Want to get out playing.
Yeah.
Putting this the show on the road, as it were.
No, okay. So when you talk about that, because the album is full instrumentation, band,
right.
drums, the whole works. Like, are you
Wow, so
talking
it's a big
about
sound?
Yeah, it's a big full rock, basically
Yeah,
rock
and I
blues
just brought 6
sound.
strings with me today, so I play all of them.
So we're going to get down to the nitty gritty of the songs themselves. But when you talk about you're going to be playing or getting out there and performing the record, do you plan to do that kind of solo like you are here today, or do you have a band that you're going to bring with you?
No, ideally what we're going to do is put on the big show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have those? Who do you got in your band?
Well, it's
Uh-oh.
there goes that. Good thing I brought an extra.
Okay, camera, switch to camera 1. Okay.
I reached
All right.
deep in my pocket.
Oh boy, you're prepared.
Everything can be fixed in editing.
No, we don't have to fix it because
that.
Grant brought a second
No,
plectrum.
just don't drop that one. Yeah. Actually, we've been testing out the material in varying degrees live, and it's going to be exciting. It will be exciting because in the live domain, of course, you can flesh out the songs. You can you can respond when the music is going well, when the audience is interactive, when the musicians are interactive, then things can develop to a whole new place, which is really the best thing about the live domain. And
then you can take that back into the recording too, right? You can take some of those elements back.
It's always a challenge to get the energy of the live performance in the studio, and I think most people will say that. It's I think there's a couple of reasons why. I think the as I mentioned, the dynamic between a performer and an audience is essential to the live experience, and without that, that circle is broken. So there's an immediate thing, and then of course the other aspect is that live music is unlimited in its sound, whereas recorded music, by virtue of its constraints, is limited. That's why you can always tell when you're walking down the street and you hear live music versus recorded music.
Yes.
Are you talking about the dynamic range?
Well, just dynamic range. I think the frequency range.
And also energetically, because you can.
You can. There's something about the energy too, and I think that might go back to the dynamic range.
But didn't Nickelback solve that problem with like a lot of effects?
With a lot of everything.
Okay, Grant. Well, listen. Would you play a song for us now? We'd love to hear something. See what it does to our psychic vibe.
Wow, that's.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to do this song here that I wrote, but I'm going to do a little different. I'm going to try.
What's this called? Do we have a name? So there.
Roll me, mama, and steal my soul. Your love has died, and you've grown cold. You got skin beneath your nails. My mind begins to fail. You keep tearing me down. You're tearing me down, and the words fall down like hail. You're killing me. Whoa, you're killing me. You're killing me. What have I done? You're killing me. Oh, killing me. You're killing me. What have I done? So roll me, Mom, steal my soul. Your love has died, and you've grown cold. With fire in her eyes and blood upon her set, over windswept water, she carries my troubled tale. You're killing me, oh, you're killing me, you're killing me. What have I done? You're killing me, whoa, you're killing me, you're killing me. What have I done? Roll me, mama, and steal my soul. Your love has died, and you've grown cold.
Wow. We both said wow.
We could be backup harmony.
I need that. All the help I can get.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if people could tell out there, but in the studio here,
That wasn't.
there was, yeah, it really was. I mean, you just totally filled the room with
was
that.
really, really powerful.
Grant. Yeah, awesome.
I hope that came through because that was really powerful.
See, probably would have come through better without compression, right? You see?
Fluoridization.
Yeah.
What a powerful voice you have.
Not bad. It's loud.
You know what? I
No,
can
it's
see.
good.
You know, that's the thing though. When you have you said that it's a very full sounding CD that you made, right? It's very because you've got
Well,
all
it's a
these-
full instrumentation.
So
yeah.
you have to have a pretty strong voice to be able to compete with all of that too, though.
Yeah,
So that's, you know-
well, it should complement. I mean, and that's where, the element of arranging and mixing comes into play.
But you still have to have a voice that can carry its own. Like it has to be able to be up there to be able to hold its own.
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, I've certainly spent a lot more time on the guitar than I did on the vocal, and
Oh, really? Okay.
oh yeah,
Okay.
and I think I heard somebody mention earlier, that the vocal is really just another line in the musical
Spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's an important line because it's the one that people will naturally gravitate
And
towards.
repeat possibly too, right?
Yeah, and then I believe you said earlier that music doesn't even need lyrics to convey much of its power, and I'm a believer in that too. But yeah, the lyric is important to many people, and I think that. But more importantly, it's just another part of the song.
Yeah, it's another instrument, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if it's just got to find its role, its job in the song. That's what it's got to do.
So are you more comfortable with your vocal instrument or your guitar playing?
Oh, I find the guitar a lot easier to control.
Really?
Yeah. The voice has kind of got a mind of its own sometimes. Yeah, it even says things I don't even mean it to.
Really?
That's the fluoride.
Yeah, Grant.
No, but seriously, really, because I found that you had a lot of control in your vocal.
Okay.
Oh, I guess you're not very
You're lucky,
convinced.
Grant, because there's a lot of people out there that they just can't sing the way they. I mean, a good example, me. I would like to sing better. I would love to have your voice, Sir Grant.
Well, it's if you can talk, you can sing, and I believe everybody's got a talent, and some people gravitate towards music, and in music, there's a number of things that you can be good at, and then, I mean, I can't play sax. No, I can't play sax or.
There's too many valves and buttons.
Yeah, and it makes my lips all tingly.
Plus, I mean, the breath that you have to have, the breath control you have to have in
Yeah.
sax, and that would be
Yeah, and I
that'd be really
smoke,
powerful.
so I'd be dizzy and I'd fall down.
Okay, there's that. So there.
So there.
There's that word again.
Wow. Are you going to do another one?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. What I'm gonna have to do though is I'm gonna have to do a quick. I started to
tune. What do you tune it different for this song, Grant?
Or
Yeah,
just-
I'm gonna tune it a
Why?
little different.
Why do you do that? I mean, what are you doing exactly? How are you tuning differently? What do you?
For us for myself, non-musician types.
Okay. Well, let me do it first, and then I'll tell you what I've done.
Yeah. See, he's got to concentrate.
Yes.
Concentrate. Concentrate. Concentrate.
Especially because you have to really listen, right? You have to make sure it sounds right, right?
Well, you got to get the tuning.
Yeah.
If it's out of tune, it's out of tune, which is, as Mimi said, maybe a little character, but sometimes maybe a little too much character.
It's going to be a little out of tune. It will be. It's
That
almost
means a
always
little more character.
It's always a little bit out of tune. Unless, of course, you use that little magic button on your computer, but I don't like that one.
Okay, so what did you do here? What did you do?
What I did is I tuned it to a G chord. It's a major chord now because the guitar is not really tuned to a chord.
Yeah.
It's so by tuning it to a chord, or an open tuning as it's sometimes called, enables you to play different voicings and different fingerings. But one of the things that it really enables somebody like me is to play the slide, because with the slide you're limited here to one finger, right?
That sounds good. Yeah.
And so it makes my job a lot easier.
So wait a second. Now it looks like you have like a medicine bottle or something on your finger. Looks like one of those pill bottles.
That's exactly what that is, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
And like well, the whole story behind this one is you can buy these now. They aren't. Once upon a time, medicine used to come in a jar just like this,
Okay.
with a little pop top.
Yes.
You didn't have to like peel the seal, pick your finger in there, and everything. It was just pop it off. And a bright gentleman from Nashville by the name of Dwayne Allman decided to
create them.
Use
find
these
an
because
alternate
apparently he
use.
got hurt a lot.
That was
And
his idea?
It was his idea, yeah, to use
Wow.
the Corson pill bottle. And
Instead of taking the pills, he used the pill bottle.
No, he took the pills
he
too.
took the pills and then he played. And then eventually he wrote the company and said that, hey, I'm using your pill bottles for slides.
Why would you tell them that?
Well, because it was a legal drug. It's like a painkiller. It's
Plus,
like
they
an
gave him a year's supply of free pills.
Yeah,
for
they
that.
gave him all the painkillers he needed, and
Get out of
they
town.
sent him a case of these things because, of course, if you drop one, they'll break.
Oh, so
And-
that's glass. That's not plastic.
No.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I thought it was plastic. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
again, medicine used to come in glass jars.
So now does everybody use this as?
Not everybody. Like I said, it was popularized by one guitarist, and
And it saves
people
your
use
finger.
all kinds of things. You can use brass. You can use the original, of course, was the bottleneck, which was literally taking a glass bottle
Oh my
and
God.
severing the neck of it through heat.
Like
and
a Coke bottle, like those old Coke
Coke
bottles or
bottle,
something.
better yet, whiskey.
Oh yeah.
You need the long neck.
Right. See. Okay.
Plus,
I
you
don't
can
know,
drink
whatever
whiskey.
you could get your hands on. I mean, people have used steak
So,
bones.
so you know what? So
Jackknives.
drugs and alcohol have influenced music in many ways.
There you go.
I think we knew that already.
Inadvertently.
No. We knew the obvious ways, but this is the not so obvious way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
Grant.
well, this is another song off the CD. This is actually not a song I wrote. This is a song I just like to play by Sunhouse, a Levy Moan. I had a job on Levy. I had a good-looking woman who lived in you. I had a job on Levy. I had a good-looking woman who lived in you. But when you got the check, she left me for the gun to bleed blue. On every payday, she'd be standing around the land and crying. On every payday, she'd be standing around the land and crying. Why don't that boy bring home that man of mine? If I don't go crazy, I believe I'll lose my mind. If I don't go crazy, I believe I'll lose my mind. I let her stand there, oh, in the back door crying. I had a job on Levy. I had a good-looking woman lived in you. I had a job on Levy. I had a good-looking woman who lived in you. I don't know. She left me with the gun to bleed blue.
very commanding when you perform.
Well,
Don't you find?
Yeah.
Like it really is an experience. It's not just watching you; it's kind of experiencing you. Yeah.
Well, Grant, you know you have a certain kind of magic. I know you know that. Because people have been strangely attracted to your music.
And that's not just because of your hair, Grant.
Oh, I think it's
or might be there.
Pretty
And the
big
fluoride.
part of it.
And the fluoride. So there.
The thing is, his music is pretty powerful stuff, and
Well, you know what it is? Here's the difference, okay? When we come to see somebody like you, it's more like you are the music. It's not you play the music. It's like the music plays you. That's what I'm feeling with you.
Okay.
Like you are the instrument. Forget, I know your vocals are and your guitar is, but you are the instrument. That's the kind of feeling. That's the difference between watching somebody and getting experience as opposed to...
Like you're saying he's almost like a channel for the universal music vibe.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I get. And to get that in the studio with one person here, it's pretty powerful.
Thanks.
How do you do it, Grant?
Sorry.
How do you guys do what you do? Oh man. A lot of respect for it. That's what it boils down to. I'm a fan of this stuff. I love what music does for me. And I think the feeling is you just want to share that and
nice.
Because music can convey so much that is difficult for people to say. And, like I said, it's just respecting that. You don't want to get in the way of that.
Well, and it's, what's really interesting, because of the power of your voice, it doesn't even matter if I don't understand the words you're saying. Like, you could just come out with sounds, and it would still be powerful.
I think I did that just there. I forgot a few.
Did you? Okay.
See, we didn't even notice. I didn't notice.
But you know what? It's true, because it's really about, I guess, the vibration. I don't know.
Yeah. Getting back to the lyric, again, it's not so much what you say as how you say it. And it's the same with, the guitar or any instrument, because you can have 10 people play the same note or the same chord on the guitar, but they'll all sound very different.
Yes.
You couldn't just give...
Good point.
I love that Chet Atkins line. Somebody said, "Man, that guitar sounds good," and he put the guitar down and he said, "Well, how's it sound now?"
Wow.
It really does depend. Everybody's got something to contribute.
Yeah.
And it's just I think the music for me was just a way to do that.
Wow.
So you've got this album out called
said.
So There, and
So There.
and it's really, it came out this summer, but really it's
So There.
Okay.
So There.
See, that's the way.
You were closer.
See, Grant would know.
If you just put equal emphasis on both words, then it can be anything you
So
want.
There, then a robot could say it, right? We're not robots. Okay, Grant.
That's for sure. Grant is definitely not a robot.
So what are you going to do now that the record is out and
Go
you're
home
getting the
and
word
take a
out?
and have some rest.
Okay, I understand that.
Whiskey.
That's what I'm going to do too, Grant.
The
But
whiskey.
No, it's much too early in the day for whiskey.
well, it's afternoon.
it's
after.
This is called liquid lunch,
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. That's right.
So no, seriously, Grant.
What are in those? What are in those?
Pure vodka, pure unadulterated Alberta vodka. Okay, but now that the record is out, like, what are you're going to tour? You're going
And where
to
can people get
you're
the
getting the
record?
word out and all that kind of
But
stuff.
the record right now is available. You can either order it. It's available online, either through Amazon, iTunes. CD Baby will deliver one in actual hard copy with a picture and credits and all that.
Okay.
Our website, grantlyle.com, has links to all of that. And I'm on the ubiquitous Facebook and MySpace. So I'm pretty easy to find.
Now, do you have any gigs coming up? Any performances that people
Yeah,
might
I'm
check
doing
out?
some shows coming up. Most of the work I've got lined up right now, I'm doing some support work with some other musicians, which is good for me right now. It's an opportunity to play with, without all the pressure of doing it,
Of leading the way,
leading it right now, and so I'm sort of content doing that at the moment until this is all fully booked and ready to go. So that's coming ideally in the new year. So in the meantime, I'm just doing some shows around.
Do you do backup vocals as well, or?
I don't get a lot of calls for backup vocals. Yeah, I don't know. Do up. It's not really. That's a whole other talent. That's a whole other talent, and no, I don't get a lot of calls for backup vocals.
Oh.
Okay.
He just lied.
All right. Okay, Grant. So people can stay in touch, GrantLyle.com.
Yeah.
Order the CD if they want. And we're going to play the official video of You're Killing Me. So people just heard the song a couple songs ago, and we're going to watch the official video now. So unbeknownst to me, I think Brian did some psychoanalysis on me the last time, so I'll probably get something out of this time.
Let's get, wow.
Of course I did, Grant. Look at
We have
this.
to hear all about it.
Okay, so here's Grant, and we'll come back
That's
with
some
Brian
big
right after this.
surprises. You're part of it.
Roll me, mama, and steal my soul. Your love
Brian Baumal. And Brian, great to have you on the show.
Hi, Brian.
Nice to be here. Hi, Sandra. How are you?
And you were just correcting us on the height of that skydiver, right?
Well, you had said it was Felix Baumgartner, and you had said it was 39,000 feet, which is where most commercial airlines fly. When if you actually look at him, you could see the Earth as a ball.
Oh, yeah.
So
he was out in space, for sure.
Yeah, so I looked it up, and it was not 39,000 feet, it was 39,000 meters.
Okay.
Which translates into,
about 3 times that.
120,000.
120,000 feet, which
so that's
is
great. Because 39,000 feet didn't seem high enough for me when I saw the figure.
Right, and when you were showing it and I looked at the video there, I said 39,000 feet, that's where commercial airplanes
and you never
fly.
see that
You
view.
never see the view
That's a really good catch, Brian.
of it. So
wow.
Yeah, if I wasn't going to be a therapist, I would have been an airline pilot. Actually,
Really?
yes.
Wow.
Well, I can see how they're both the same.
Well, also, yeah. Plus, I would think that even that was a really crazy skydive that Felix Baumgartner. I'm wondering if that is an indication that maybe he needs psychotherapy.
You know what? I actually don't think it is, and I'll tell you why. People who engage in that kind of risk, who are for the most part professional daredevils.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that what this man is? A professional daredevil?
Well, he's a professional skydiver
Okay.
at
In
the least.
essence, you're still okay. Get your point.
You don't do that kind of thing on impulse. And I didn't see the video of him live, but I did watch bits and pieces of it. And he had a control room of about 24 people there monitoring his jump. So I don't think it's a cry for help. It was not an impulsive act.
Mm-hmm.
It was one that was certainly risky, but arguably we risk our own lives when we cross the street. But we just feel we can engage in that kind of thing and take our chances and not really worry about it. So I think someone who takes a chance like that, and as long as they mitigate it and know what they're getting into, sure, he's fine, and I don't think it's a cry for help. But I think we can talk about when it is time to see a therapist, and when is it time to see a therapist? When are your actions a cry for help, or when is it time to see a professional?
Okay, so that's great. That's a great distinction that you made. That a good definition of that. What he did was a calculated risk, but not crazy. And crazy is probably the wrong word, right, Brian? But
well, it was certainly well controlled, and I think he knew what he was getting into when he went in.
Absolutely.
And people who need therapy are not necessarily crazy.
And that's a good way of that's a good distinction. But people, we can look at, people notice certain changes in themselves, and one of the changes they may know is that they're taking more risks than they usually do, and that's one of the things you need to look at. How has your behavior changed overall? You may have encountered a life problem that you have, and you find that you're drinking a little bit more than usual, or you're gambling a little bit more.
Or that could be the problem.
It could be the problem, but more than likely, if I'm talking about using those things as a coping mechanism versus a chronic problem. Obviously, when someone has the chronic problem of gambling and drinking, and they're not coming into therapy, we don't necessarily know what's going to turn that light on to get them to come in. But if you've had a major life change, for example, or if you find yourself depressed and coping in different ways, you have. I guess the topic I'm talking about is, when is it time to come in? Certainly, if you've been chronically gambling and you're in debt, come on in. But I'm talking more about the times where the light switches on.
So before it gets to that chronic issue.
Before it gets to the chronic issue, where again, there's such a thing as retail therapy. You've had a bad day at work. You've, let's say, endured some sort of loss in your life. Let's say you've even lost a pet, for example. and you go out and you shop. You just find yourself going out and shopping for things.
So there is really such a thing as retail therapy.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, many women are inflicted. How come men are not inflicted by retail therapy?
Well, we are.
I think we
just go to different stores. We go to Canadian Tire. We go to
like technology gadgets like TVs.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Right. Best Buy.
Okay.
One of the interesting differences between men and women when they shop is that men tend to buy much larger ticket items.
Okay.
Maybe less often than women buy less expensive items more often. So the end bill may be the same, but the frequency with which men and women tend to do it differs.
Isn't that interesting?
Differs a little bit. So yeah, we go to Best Buy and we'll...
Right, but plus guys are different. I mean, this is a different topic, but women just love to shop. I don't really like shopping. I just want to get in there, get the stuff, get out of there.
Yeah.
Right? Shopping to me is just...
a means to an end.
Yeah, exactly.
And men tend to feel that way, and women tend to spend
Look forward to
longer
it.
in the process. Yes.
Okay, Brian, so today we're talking about what are the signs that people should pay attention to when they need psychotherapy,
So we've
right?
talked about one, which is a change in your behavior and in your coping in your coping mechanisms. Another one is have your emotions or moods changed more than normally. You know, it is okay to be sad and depressed and angry and upset, or even happy for that matter, but when I think you have to self-evaluate on occasion when your moods become too depressed, or when you become too sad, or when you're chronically going home, closing the door, and crying, or again, if you...
So that makes me think that a lot of people, when they get to something like that, they think, oh, there's something physically wrong with me, so they go see their doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So they tend not to think about going to see a psychotherapist. They think about going to see their doctor. Something's wrong with me. I need to go get a pill.
Yes.
Do you find that?
Do I find... Well, I certainly find that there are a lot of people that come to me with undifferentiated medical symptoms. I'm not a doctor, so I will always tell someone that if they have a pain in their stomach and they think like 90% it's related to their mood, I'll say go and see your doctor. Anyhow, just to, like, I'm not a doctor, and I don't want to have to take responsibility for someone's physical pain. But if they feel that it's more than likely a result of their mind, then it probably is. But yes, that is a time when we all have our various aches and pains as well, and when they tend to become worse for us, it's something you may want to consider seeing a therapist and your physician about.
But it seems to me a lot of I think I may have mentioned this before, but it seems to me that the whole field of I'll say psychiatry, not psychotherapy, but really it's just been, they've kind of given up on talk therapy, and it's really all about the drugs now. And if somebody goes to their doctor, they don't even have to be a psychiatrist. They go to a GP with some depression symptoms, that they're going to get a pill. They're going to get one of the new antidepressants. They're not going to get talk therapy.
And maybe and that's a possibility, and that's maybe another time to consider therapy as well. Is when your doctor gives you a pill. I'm not against pills. I have no opinion on them either way, so I'll never stray into that area. But my view is that you can't get understanding, soul, depth, and wisdom from a bottle, because if you did, quite frankly, I'd be
unless it's that bottle that Grant had.
That's true, that medicine.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we'd all be taking that one.
Then we'd all be taking, and then we'd all have them around our fingers, being guitar experts. But certainly, if your doctor gives you a pill and feels that that's appropriate for you, it may be time to investigate therapy as well, to look at the deeper issues, to look at what the pill can't give you, which is perspective and wisdom.
And as a person suffering from these symptoms, really, it's they have to take responsibility for their health, and they have to decide: do I want to go to a doctor and get a pill, or do I maybe want to take what's maybe a better approach in the long run and see a
With no side
psychotherapist.
effects. Well, no side effects.
I think there's both, and I think that part of the issue that people have is indeed taking responsibility for themselves, and a therapist may certainly be the first stop on the road to someone who's so out of control that they need the thing they need to do is take responsibility in their life. Getting someone to that point is very difficult, and people coming to that realization on themselves, on their own, that they need to take responsibility is very, very difficult and challenging for people to do. I'm actually quite content when anyone goes to any self-help provider and says, I'm out of control, I need to take responsibility. Whether it be a therapist, a psychiatrist, a doctor, a coach, a spiritual leader, I'll say that I get a number of phone calls on my phone where people just hang up. I don't answer it, but they're I see my call display with no corresponding message, and people probably back out at the
last minute, for
second in terms of leaving a message or speaking to me. So if they take that step anywhere, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, because they've made a commitment, for sure.
They made a commitment.
Okay,
what
so
other signs?
Yeah, so we've got those two signs. Now, what else? What should people be watching for? What else?
Well, I think if do others notice changes in you is a big one as well. So people start commenting a little bit more on your moodiness, or you seem you seem to be even a little bit more hyper than you were before. Okay. Some other things to notice are have your thoughts changed, and this is really important, I think. Have your thoughts about you and your life circumstance begun to change so much? So, for example, you may have an issue with your family, and then realize your job is awful. Does one issue begin to affect all the others in your life? And then, of course, feelings about your self-worth, feelings of and thoughts of suicide even, which, thoughts of suicide when you have depression, it may sound really scary, but they're not out of the ordinary. And you could there's thinking about it, and then there's planning it, and so on and so forth. But are those thoughts more intense than normal? Are you thinking about suicide more often than normal? That's where you may also want to see someone as well. And I guess the other symptom is, are you withdrawn? Do you walk into a room and just feel completely withdrawn from people? And the other side is do you walk into a room and have to go and talk to everyone for any reason as well? So those are some of the things that I would certainly look for.
You mentioned that withdrawn one, and we're going to play a video in a few minutes, Brian. I didn't realize you were doing what you were doing, but it's being withdrawn. Everyone's got a different personality, right? Mm-hmm. Some people are introverts, maybe you correct me if I'm wrong, but some people are extroverts. Some people are naturally more withdrawn. Some people are naturally more
outgoing,
forthcoming.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what we're looking for is changes.
So the opposite of whatever you are.
Not necessarily either the opposite, or perhaps a change in where you are. So for me, I am normally introverted. And if I find myself being much more so, to the point where I don't even want to go out anymore, because I will at least go out. How I interact is another thing, but I will at least go out the door. If I find that I'm not even going out the door anymore, that's a change in one's behavior. So no, it's not about being introverted per se. It's about a change in your normal state of being. So those who are normally withdrawn, are they becoming even more so?
So how about a normal I'm just not happy with life? Is that a reason to also go see a psychotherapist? Because these are all pretty extreme measures.
Yes, if you're not, on the surface, if you're not happy with with life, if you feel that there's something better for you in life, by all means, that's a good time to want to come. I mean, I sort of classify people into 3 or 4 broad areas. Those that have psychological conditions, those that have suffered a sudden life change, and the third one that you talk about is those that are seeking general self-improvement. So everything's really going along fine, but I want it better than where...
Because you don't always have to be desperate to see a psychotherapist, right?
No, you don't. You don't, but I guess what I'm trying to distinguish here is the point at which you begin to think, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. You know, what should you be looking for in your life to indicate whether you should or shouldn't come and see someone?
Okay, so we've touched on some good reasons for people who might, you know, if they are experiencing any of that, maybe they should give you a call.
Yes.
But I would think there are some people that... and some conditions where the changes are maybe they're so well, I'll just say it, messed up or so confused or suffering so much that they don't realize that they might need to see somebody. You know, and I mean, I guess it's hard to recommend what to do for people like that.
It is very hard, and I have spent, I think, a number of therapists have tried in their minds at one point or another to think of what you could convince, what you could say to someone to convince them to come into therapy. And I think no matter how you slice it, in the end, it's always going to be up to the person, and you can't really say anything to anyone.
Convince somebody.
But you did mention that in some cases, you know, your family and friends are noticing something about you. Are they, you know, can they be in a position to insist that somebody go and see somebody?
Well, again, I think it's very different. I think you have to look at the dynamic of the family and friend situation. They can certainly suggest it. I could suggest anything to anyone in any way. Whether they take it or not is a different story. So there's nothing I would recommend a friend or family member say, other than actually, you know, if they want to say, just come out and say it. I've noticed these changes in you. You may want to give someone a call.
Or as Jerry Seinfeld says, you need a team of psychiatrists working around the clock to make you better.
What I do say to the friends and family members, though, that want support is I think friends and family members realize it's very difficult to recommend going to see it.
Yeah, it's a really touchy subject.
It's a touchy subject, but I'm going to tell you something in life, at least that I've learned. When I put myself on the line and make a tough call to someone and say, you know what, I've noticed this about you and you need to do this. I don't say this easily, I don't say it lightly. This is something you need to do, and they actually, you know, and then they actually take that action. It's worth the risk. So I think for friends and family members, realize that they are taking a risk in saying it. And when you take a risk, hopefully it will work out. But it's I think it's rarely going to be an easy conversation for people to have.
Okay, Brian. So if somebody's watching this right now and maybe they're resonating with something and maybe they go, yeah, maybe it's time for me to see somebody, how do they get in touch with you?
I have a website, torontotherapysite.com.
Yeah. Okay.
And they can contact me through there.
And if they make the phone call, leave a message. Right, Bri?
It's up to them. I would certainly appreciate it, but it's certainly up to them. You know, it's a difficult thing for people to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Thanks, Brian.
Wow. Thank you. Interesting.
Well, I think I should see someone yesterday,
well,
Sandra.
I was going to say, as for the family and friends part, Hugh.
Yeah.
And I know this is a risk. No, I'm kidding.
Well, it's funny because I was just surfing around YouTube last night and I wanted to see this video.
You know what? But before we say that, I think we can all use therapy of some sort.
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
absolutely,
because
it's 2012. But no, I was on YouTube last night, wanted to see this video by Marianne Williamson. I clicked on it, and all of a sudden, Brian's commercial, total fluke synchronicity.
But was that a fluke?
came
I
up.
don't think so.
And I was in it.
Meant to happen. Oh my
and
god!
so let's watch
That
that
is-
commercial now.
You were in it.
And
So you guys
kind
did a
of freaked
commercial
me out.
together.
I didn't
Yes.
know I was in such bad shape until I saw
And look
this.
at you now. Wow.
I know. So let's watch this.
Wow.
So we're going to come back with Joel Levy talking about how awesome Toronto is right after
Yeah.
this. We'll be right back. You know, I think I've got social anxiety. Even thinking about going to some kind of party or something like that will stress me out.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel obligated.
How does the anxiety make you feel when you experience it?
Well, first of all, I feel like I say often obligated. You know, because you want to support people who are having parties, and you want to be social, and you want to have friends, and you want to enjoy yourself and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. On the other hand, you don't want to leave the house. It's too cold outside. You just feel like watching TV. You don't feel like interacting with anybody.
Yeah.
And then I feel guilty that I'm not. Maybe I decide I don't go out, and then I feel guilty. Oh, I'm not doing what I should be doing. That's what happens.
Then I would focus on your resistance to obligation.
Oh. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Resistance to obligation. Are you telling me I should feel obligated? Because I hate feeling obligated.
Right.
That's a really good point. Really good point, Brian. Yeah, I do have a resistance to obligation. Oh my
Right.
goodness.
And see,
My name is Bob Kronbauer, and I'm the founder and editor of Vancouver's Awesome.
Now, what is Vancouver's Awesome?
It started as a blog, and it still is a blog. And it's also we've incorporated as a not-for-profit. So I guess it's kind of like a business, just to make sure it can sustain itself and stay around.
So why make a blog a nonprofit?
I guess for the reason, mostly what I just said, is to make sure that it has a future and that it has a direction, because it's always been, it's always been about the study, promotion, and preservation of Vancouver arts and culture with a positive spin. So it's always we only report on the good stuff about Vancouver, and so it suits a not-for-profit really well, because it's like that's our mandate, and that's our goal with it. And so to have it actually technically incorporated as a not-for-profit, it just seemed like a logical step.
Now, you've done some pretty high-profile interviews with a couple people, with a couple iconic Vancouverites and things like that. Have
The
you lined
Michael
those
J.
up?
Fox one took months of hitting different people, and finally the stars aligned for that one around the Olympics. And I was really happy with that one. I actually got to do that one myself, over the phone, which was cool. The Ryan Reynolds one was a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, and it came.
Can you set me up with that one too?
through email, through somebody else's email, who I wasn't allowed to see their email address because people are I guess really obsessive, because he's quite famous. But what are some of the other ones? What was your favorite one?
Well, you've done Copeland, you've done Strombo.
Copeland was our first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
just like the
George,
series. Yeah.
That one was good. That was really cool.
Now you also have. Sorry not to cut you off.
Go ahead.
You also have Calgary is Awesome and stuff. Have you launched those yet?
Yeah, so originally I bought all the URLs for most of the major centers in Canada, and thought that I would be able to manage them myself from the beginning, but we did Montreal, we did Toronto, and just nobody was in place to manage them. And so Calgary, though, we started, and now it has a really strong editorial team, and it has somebody leading it. Brock Mitchell is in charge of it, and he does another thing called Shot at the Dark, which is tied in. It's he gets bands to play one song live in Calgary, and it's I don't know, it's working out really well with Calgary. So they just need somebody to lead them, and finding that person is maybe the challenge. But, we're launching KelownaIsAwesome.com in
So we're here now with Joel Levy, who's the right guy to manage the Toronto initiative of Canada's awesome, Toronto's awesome, Kelowna is awesome, Vancouver is awesome.
Yep.
And Joel?
What an awesome project.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about it. I know we have the notes, but let's talk about the idea in general. And because you're running the Toronto site, and Toronto is awesome, so let's talk about it.
Yep. So yeah, it started in Vancouver about 5 years ago. Moved to Calgary about 2 years ago. Whistler about a year ago, and there's a few other projects in the work around BC. So I decided to come out here and start the Toronto site. We launched 4 months ago on June 15th, and hopefully we're going to move further east and to other places like Montreal, Halifax as well.
So you came from BC to Toronto just to launch the site?
Yes, I was. I had my column for Vancouver is Awesome. I was their hip hop and electronic music editor.
Okay.
So I worked with them for about a year and a half, and I wanted to move back to Toronto, and I was really enjoying my time working with them. So I pitched it to Bob that I wanted to start the Toronto site, unknowing to me at the time that he had already tried at the beginning to start a Toronto and Montreal site that didn't take off. And like he said in that video, that's really just about trying to find somebody that's passionate about their city and who wants to do it. And the fact that I was already familiar with how the site is run, it really made it a lot easier for me.
And you're from Toronto originally,
yes.
So that's a perfect formula, right?
Yes, I grew up, I was born and raised downtown Toronto, so it was made it a lot easier.
Wow.
So let's just talk about why, what the need is for Toronto is awesome, for all of the towns, for Canada is awesome. What's the whole kind of raison d'etre for these sites?
Well, I guess how it started was Bob had come back from living in LA for 5 years, I think it was.
Okay.
And he had noticed, I don't know if you guys know about the whole no fun city that happened in Vancouver. People were complaining that it was like a town with nothing going on, and people were just always complaining.
Really? In LA they were saying that about Vancouver?
No, in Vancouver. When he came back from LA to Vancouver, he noticed there was a lot of negative press.
Was that after the
Vancouver.
Canucks lost again?
This was before, yeah. This was before that. But
really?
that continued that kind of thought, the whole riot thing there. That really didn't do wonders. But so when he came back, he was like, okay, I want to start this site. So it started out just small, and then some of his friends started to do it as well. And it just grew, and now there's lots of writers that pitch into the community sections and such.
So is it? I mean, do you conceive of it as a news site, or just?
Yeah, it is news. Our thing is it's positive.
News and culture,
positive.
I guess, right?
Yeah.
So it's positive. So there's nothing, because obviously Vancouver's awesome. I guess it would be positive. But
yeah, and that's the thing. There's so much bad news nowadays.
It's all covered by the mainstream press,
yeah,
right?
And if you look at the mainstream media, it's you'll find the same story 100 times over. And it's always, if you look at the headlines, it's always someone was killed, someone was robbed, someone like that.
Plus, it's going to be specific to Vancouver too, because everybody, if you're doing Toronto's awesome, you're going to be talking about Toronto.
Yeah.
So it's local too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I almost think that really the local is, and people talk about think global, act local. I think that the internet, which is a global phenomenon, but also gives the opportunity for people to really zero in on their own local communities in a way that hasn't been done for.
Yep.
And emphasize local culture rather than say national culture, or
Yeah,
and it sounds like that's what you guys are doing.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. We focus on all the positive stories in arts and culture, pretty much, that are happening in each city. So that's why we want to expand to all the cities, and we do have the Canada is Awesome site as well, which right now is just a feeder site to all the other sites.
Okay. So you guys have been going 4 months in Toronto. Let's talk about some of the awesome things that you guys are covering in Toronto. Does it go by category or something? Or tell us exactly how the site works, what people can expect when they go there.
Okay, yeah. So another unique aspect of our site is we have these columns. And usually when you go to other sites, they have columns. It'll be like, politics, arts and entertainment. You'll have these very normal kind of genres. And what we do is we brand our individual columns. So we come up with a unique name and a unique logo for each column. And we have something like 30 columns on Toronto's Awesome. And there's usually one writer, editor for each column. Sometimes there's a writer or editor that has 2 columns. And we do even random things like comics. We have a comic section about that does interviews with Toronto cartoonists and comic writers. And then we have your normal things like music. You know, we have 6 different music columns. Like our hip hop column is called The Reverb, or our electronic music column is called The Basement. So they all have their own name and their own logo, which is a very unique thing, and people follow just that column. You know, we'll have like a Twitter account just for that column, so people can get in touch with their community for that specific thing, which I think is a great idea, and people really like that about the site as well.
Well, it sounds like you have a lot of people behind this. It sounds like there's a lot of individuals. Is that the case, or?
Yeah, we have a really great team. I think we have about 20 writers now, and it's all, another unique part is it's everybody is kind of involved in that scene, all the writers that write from. So we have musicians by day, and they write about their scene and what they're exposed to in their day-to-day.
Now, is this a volunteer thing?
Yeah, we're all volunteers for now. Maybe down the road something different, but for now we all do it in our spare times pretty much. But yeah, so I don't know if you guys want to talk about some of those columns. We could do that
let's
too.
talk about, I mean, I know one is events and fundraisers, but do you want to maybe run through the columns and we can talk about them individually as we go?
Sure. So there's a couple of events coming up in the next week. There's one called Opera Nation, which comes out on Thursday.
Opera Nation. Nice.
Opera Nation, and it's done by the Canadian Opera Company.
Okay.
And it's to raise money for the Ensemble Studio, which is an organization done by the COC that
Canadian Opera Company.
Yeah, it trains young opera singers. So every year they do this thing called Opera Nation, where it's like a gala and. Musicians play. This year there's Nelly Furtado and the Arkells are playing. And also on the side, the Ryerson Fashion students and alumni were asked to draw designs based on an operetta called, I have to get this right, Die Fledermaus is the name.
What is that? Can you repeat that?
What, you haven't heard of Die Fledermaus?
Yeah, it's an opera by Johann Strauss.
Of course,
famous.
Operetta, sorry, I should say.
Okay, I really need to brush up on my opera.
Yeah, so that's happening on Thursday, and it's kind of a, highbrow event a bit, but it's a very interesting thing.
A highbrow event, Die Fledermaus.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't.
It's German.
Oh. Seriously? I'm going to believe anything
it's
right
German,
now.
Right? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, German opera.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. I have a lot to learn, don't I? I need to go visit the Toronto's Awesome site, I think.
Yeah, for sure. There's so much great stuff happening in the city, and I feel like a lot of it just gets passed up. A lot of people don't hear about it. Like even I'm guilty of it too. A lot of these things I wouldn't have heard of if I hadn't been doing this site and getting these press releases about them.
Well, it's a good. I think really that things have changed so much. And our television, the regular TV or whatever. No, we have the internet now, right? TV can only do so much. Like they can only have so many artists, like on breakfast television.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's so much culturally and otherwise going around in the city that there's never, those TV stations are never going to be able to cover it all. Yeah. But now with the internet, we can really. Yeah. We can cover it, and we can, maybe getting out to smaller audiences, but still, there's just so much going. Not everybody can go to everything, but
yeah, and that's the great thing too about having this team behind us. Like when it's a volunteer-based thing, we can have so many more people involved, and we can cover so much. We can have many different music people covering many different bands. Like they don't have their certain niche or their certain group of people that they're used to and that they're exposed to. And the more writers you have, the more reach, I guess, you can have.
You know what I think is really cool about this, too, is that it's not just necessarily for people who live in Toronto. How about for tourists? I would try and tap this into Toronto tourism and see if you can have a link from the Toronto tourism site to the Toronto's Awesome.
Yeah, we actually did that with Ontario Tourism.
Okay.
We started a column here about a month ago, and we got the idea from Vancouver. It's called Super Neighbors in Ontario, and in Vancouver it was called Super Neighbors in BC. And so I go out, or Bob goes out from Vancouver, and he visits places around Toronto, different regions, and he does a post about it. So he'll stay at some resort or some place, get to know about the area, and then I contacted Tourism Ontario about this, and every time we do an article, they promote it through their networks as well. So
like a neighbor of Toronto would be like Wine Country, Niagara,
yeah,
on the lake
exactly.
kind of thing?
Niagara. We
or
did
Stratford.
yeah, the last one we did was Brighton, Ontario.
Okay, yep.
And that's all around Lake Ontario, the central Lake Ontario in the
Nice.
north.
I got stuck in Brighton this summer for an
Yeah.
afternoon.
And it's
You could've
amazing what you
written
find out there.
article,
Like I had no idea. There's so much stuff there. And
So now, if somebody wanted to participate and volunteer and write something, what's
Yeah.
the criteria?
the person usually has to be passionate about it.
Okay.
Usually we'll
And
take
positive,
yeah, positive.
obviously, no negativity, so-
yeah, and it's been great. You know, we've got a really great team so far, and yeah. So if you're interested, you can just write us at info@torontoisawesome.com, and we're always looking for new contributors to expand our reach.
Although it certainly doesn't
Okay.
sound like you're short on that, though.
Well, I would think that there's there's no end to the culture that you can cover if you had people to cover it.
Yeah, there's really, I wish we could cover everything. We could, like some people, sometimes I tell people, I'm like, oh yeah, we have like, a technology section, and they're like, oh, is there really enough in Toronto in the technology scene to cover, say, a weekly column?
Mhm.
And I say to them, like, you could do one every day, I bet,
Yeah.
easily. There's so much going on.
And what's unique to Toronto, though, which may not be to other parts of Canada, is the culture. Like, do you have like an ethnic column or a culture, like because there's things going on in Greek Town and
Yeah.
Little Italy and things like that. Do you
Yeah,
have
we do include the stuff, but we usually fit them into whichever
Other
columns
topics,
they
okay.
fit into. So, like, I know Harbourfront Centre does a lot of stuff like that. Like, they had different festivals throughout the summer from different countries all over the world, and we include it usually in community and culture events, which
Okay.
is one of our columns as well, community and culture.
Okay, so there you go. That would be okay.
Okay, so let's just go through these categories again. Events and fundraisers.
Yep.
And I know you got some specific events here, but I think people could find out on the site
Yeah,
if
like
we don't
these are-
touch on all of them today.
Yeah, exactly.
How about the homegrown businesses? What?
Yeah, we can talk about that one. So I just did an interview yesterday with one of the owners or managers at Over the Rainbow, which is a clothing store in Yorkville, and it's been around for 37 years, and it's a family-run business. So it's the father, the father, 2 sons, and a daughter, and I think the wife as well. And it's been around 37 years, so it's a real Toronto institution, especially in a
Wow.
neighborhood like Yorkville, which has seen a lot of change in that time. It's gone from like this
And
like
it's
hippie kind
stayed.
of neighborhood to this kind of upscale neighborhood, and it's like always been there.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of the go-to spot. When you tell people when they're coming to town, they go to Yorkville, they check out Over the Rainbow as one of those
Stars
places.
go there too. Celebrities, TIFF
Yeah,
people.
Exactly. So it's really big. And then to contrast that, we have companies like Take to the Sea, which is a couple that make terrariums, terrariums are just like glass orbs that you grow plants in. And
Oh,
so
wow.
these guys, they grow their own cacti in their house and in their studio, and they make these little terrariums with like sand and rare precious stones and cactus, and they make them like art installations, and you can hang them from your ceilings, and
Oh my
they're
God.
really, really beautiful works of art.
So there is a business that probably most people would never encounter if it weren't for the coverage that you guys are giving.
I've
them,
never even
right?
heard that word, terrarium.
Yeah,
have it?
exactly. It's very
Terrestrial, but not terrarium.
I made my own terrarium when I was a kid.
You did not.
I did so.
Have
Joel,
you heard
did you
of that
ever?
word?
I never made it. I never made one.
Have you ever heard of that word before?
Before I did the article, I'm not sure if I had.
See? It's not just me.
Okay.
It's people from Welland.
All right. Okay. So let's go with some of the other categories. The charity category.
Yeah, so we have a charity column called Charitable Choices, and this is a big category because in Toronto there's so many charitable organizations, and
Yeah.
it's really great. Like most of our columns we do once every 2 weeks, and this one a lot of times we do it every week.
Yeah.
And so one we did was called 5 Hole for Food, which was the guy Richard Lote from Vancouver started it, and he traveled all across Canada to like 15 cities, and they set up outdoor ball hockey rinks, and people come down, and it's tied in with the Daily Bread food banks,
Wow.
and people donate foods and play hockey. So it's called 5 Hole for Food, and it's just a young guy.
You think it would be playing golf instead of
Five
hockey with a
hole.
name like
Yeah,
that?
I guess so.
But you know what? Hey, this is Canada.
Yeah.
Everything's hockey in Canada.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like a young guy from Vancouver.
You should
and
get
started
Tim
this
Hortons
event,
to sponsor that.
Yeah, I wonder if he's tried. Maybe it's possible.
Especially across Canada, because Tim Hortons is everywhere.
Okay, so charity and then also development.
Yeah. So
what do you mean by that development?
The development is like development in architecture. So things that are new buildings and new things that are popping up.
Okay, constructions and stuff.
No shortage of that in Toronto, eh?
Yeah, exactly. And we try and aim at the more positive ones, the better ones, the ones that are doing good things for the community, like the green buildings that they're building. Or, for example, this one we just did the Regent Park Arts and Cultural Center, which is called now Daniel's Spectrum. I think the name is
I've been by there.
Yeah.
It's amazing the redevelopment of the Regent Park, the subsidized housing in Toronto. It's going to be awesome when it's done. They're doing an amazing job.
It is crazy. Like I grew up at Sherbourne, in between Bloor and Wellesley, so it wasn't very far from me. I knew the area very well. And now going away for like 10 years and coming back to the neighborhood, I live now at Jarvis and Queen, which is also just a block
Very
away
close,
from Regent Park. And the area is so different. It's a lot of students now.
Do you like the area? Do you like the feel of it?
Yeah, I've always liked it. It's got a nice city, urban feel to it, and it feels very real.
And it's getting better. I mean, I just think that they really thought this through very well, this redevelopment.
I have a really
Park.
positive story, actually. And it's starting, there's a pilot project in Regent Park, actually. Toronto Feral Cats.
Oh, yeah?
There's an organization now, and Toronto Animal Services is working with it, and it's called the Feral Cat Project, and they do trap, neuter, return. And apparently there's a great number of them in that area. So there's a coalition of 9 rescue groups, and Toronto Humane Society, Toronto Animal Services, and all that, working together to reduce the population there. So they're they're actually trapping them, spaying and neutering them, and then returning them. And they're starting in Regent Park.
See, it's another story that Toronto is awesome could be covering.
Yeah, we wanted to do one actually on the Humane Society. I just adopted a cat actually like 4 months ago. A nice gray cat from the Humane Society right there at River Street and Queen.
Yes. And they've made a lot of really positive changes to their organization too.
Yeah, and they have so many cats. I think when I was there, they had 60 kittens and 60 adult cats.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of cats.
That's a lot of,
Luckily, that day I was there, I saw at least 10 go home. So
that's why they need these projects like the Feral Cat Project, because the reason there's so many is because they come from the streets, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's, anyways, it is a really positive thing, and it's they're starting the project is actually in Regent Park.
Yeah, exactly.
So you might actually see a whole bunch of traps lined up or something. You'll know what it's for now.
Yeah, that's true.
So Hugh, if you see food in there, don't put your hand in, okay? Because it's going to snap on you.
Okay. All right. Okay. So next category, what, outdoors?
Oh yes, the outdoors.
It's the Feral Cat Project.
See, outdoors, because they have to live outdoors.
Nice segue.
Because they're feral.
Oh. Yeah, it's a very big common misconception with Toronto is that it's this very urban. There's no green here, especially people in Vancouver out west. They think it's this concrete jungle kind of thing.
That's a total misnomer. Really,
totally
that's so not true.
Yeah, it's so true. That's why we have this column. It's about the outdoors. It's called Unplugged because it's ways to get unplugged from technology and away from computers and stuff. And there's so much to do. Like we have the Toronto Islands here, which is kind of like our Stanley Park in Vancouver. It's like a big open.
When you're there,
area.
You don't feel like you're even close to Toronto.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people think it's too far away, but really it's a 5-minute ferry ride from Bay and Lakeshore.
It does feel like another world. It does.
It's really great. Great bike riding spot. So we do articles about that. Another article, all the parks we have here, like High Park, Trinity Bellwoods. There's just so much green space. Like even when you're riding the subway and you're going from Castle Frank to Broadview Station, and you have the viaduct, and you see this amazing forests and the rivers that go through it, and it's. I think it. Even in Vancouver, in the city, you don't see that much. I don't think.
Really,
Vancouver. I found Vancouver. Everything is so dense because they have to be just because they got to preserve
space too,
and they have to preserve the farmland as best as possible because there's so little of it, right?
Yeah. And their downtown also is on an island, which means that they have limited space to work with. So they can't really have like large sprawling. Parks.
So how does that work then? Because when you think of BC, when you think of Vancouver, you're thinking hippies, tree huggers. Yeah. How did they get that reputation?
I think it's all the surrounding areas are all forest and stuff, and they have beaches all along the waterfronts too, which is something Toronto has lacked.
Plus, it's warm
too.
And you know what? And they're close to LA. So maybe that has something to do with it too.
It's that West Coast thing.
It's a West Coast thing.
Well, you're back here in the East now.
Yeah.
Joel, now how do you find, how are people reacting to Toronto's awesome versus how they reacted in Vancouver to
Is it going
Vancouver's
to be
awesome?
like which one a contest? Which is the most awesome?
Yeah, who's more awesome? Who's more awesome, Joel?
We definitely have talked about this, especially with the hockey teams. That's going to be a big rivalry between the sites. So hopefully Toronto's going to have to pick up their game. If there's no season, I don't think this year, but
no.
Hopefully, I still got my
That
fingers
would
crossed.
be fun.
Yeah.
The
so,
awesomest.
Yeah.
Who's the awesomest?
I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be possible. There's a curse on the Leafs, right?
Yeah.
I think
it's like
Conn
the whole
Smythe.
Boston
This is how you break the
baseball
curse.
is coming in now that they won their thing, it's moved on to the Toronto Maple Leaf hockey team.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, not a lot of time left, Joel, but what else should we mention about Toronto's awesome? Of course, we'll give people the web address, but what else do you want to make sure people know about?
If you have any stories, I was saying that everybody has a story. If you do anything in Toronto positive, then get in touch with us. If you have a homegrown business that you think people should know about, get in touch with us. Any positive stories we're willing to listen to, and we have categories for everything pretty much. So
do you have like a column with questions, like where would I go to do this, or where would I go to find this, like
Twitter mostly. I've been getting those a lot actually this past week. People have just been asking me like, oh, do you have a film person? We want to make this corporate video in Toronto. Do you know somebody? Or where is the best place to learn French with no money and stuff like that? So I try my best to answer those questions for people. And our Twitter account is at Toronto's Awesome. So no I, Toronto's Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, great.
And no apostrophe then.
No apostrophe on Twitter.
You can't use it.
Bad grammar Twitter account.
So let's give the other contact info. So the website, of course, torontosawesome.com.
Yeah.
Right. And anything else? Can people find you on Facebook? And
the Facebook will be facebook.com/TorontoIsAwesome. And then if you want to get in touch with us by email, you can just get in touch with us at info@torontoisawesome.com.
Excellent. What a great idea. Kudos to all of you guys for doing this whole awesome line.
Thank you.
And you guys have to have shirts?
Yes, we want to get shirts,
coming,
actually. That is definitely something. I was actually at the Rogers Cup recently, and I was sitting with the coach and the brother of the player. My friend's brother is a player for Team Canada, Vasek Pospisil. And apparently I was getting calls the whole time. My friends were saying I was on TV the whole time, and I was like so choked that I didn't have my Toronto's Awesome t-shirt on. But next time, I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. So you're glad to be back?
Yeah, it's great. I'm loving Toronto.
All right.
It's a great city.
Joel, great to meet you. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming in.
Even though we didn't have fall this year, Toronto's still awesome. Right?
It's still fall out there right now.
I know, but it doesn't feel like it.
Okay. All right. Well, TorontoIsAwesome.com is the
Toronto
website.
actually is.
And that's it for the show, Sandra.
Awesome show.
Awesome. Okay. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow for more Liquid Lunch right here on ThatChannel.com. See you then.